Awesome, amazing. Hello, everyone. I would like to welcome you to the summit as annually happening. It's nice to see all your faces again. And I would like to start off by explaining what product delivery is within Zabbix. Reset. First off, who am I? I am an ex-employee of Zabbix who has returned after roughly a 10-year hiatus. I work as a developer. I work on your favorite components, which are the agent, the proxy, and the server, which make this whole monitoring thing tick. And sometimes I put on different hats throughout the day, and one of them is product delivery, which is the topic we'll be covering here today. I consider the Zabbix to just generally be a very good, a very educating product because of how many other systems it interacts with, as well as Zabbix, the company, being a great work environment where I get to work with very experienced other developers and learn continuously. With this talk today, I would like to cover the following. What product delivery is and what are the objectives it sets out to achieve. What the motivating factors are for engaging in product delivery as a company. We will also slightly go back in time and look at how product delivery even started within Zabbix as a company. See what the current state of of product delivery within Zabbix is, and how far we've come from the beginning of it. And finally, a slight glimpse into what the future, in the short term at least, holds for us and what we can expect. A brief disclaimer, some of these topics may appear or be out of order, but bear with me here. This will eventually make sense, I hope. If not, you'll have the Q&A section of this talk at the very end of it, and if you can't manage to get your question in, just walk up to me, catch me, and I will try and answer all your questions to the best of my ability. So, to make this a little bit of an interactive, to wake you all up, a quick show of hands, who's familiar with this page? Excellent, a lot of you, great. Another question and a show of hands of who builds Zabbix from source? A lot less hands, but those that did pull them up, why? Are you like developers? Are you secretly holding onto forks and maintaining them? What's going on there? Because we have a lot of other options of obtaining Zabbix than just beyond building from source. So product delivery, I would like to first off establish what is product delivery. And what I personally, at least, consider the key objectives that it strives to achieve. If you search the greater World Wide Web, you will come across a couple of definitions that generally try and describe the same key points. Albeit, in my opinion, sometimes they may be stretched outside of just the norms of pure product delivery to encompass some related processes, but the gist is the same. So I would like to offer a slim and simple definition of what product delivery is. Product delivery is the process of preparing and shipping a product to end users. Obviously, we can't go along just with this general definition, so I would like to append some quantifiers to that. Product delivery should ship a product that is readily consumable, it lends itself to reuse, it meets established criteria of quality, and maybe the most important one, it becomes available in a timely manner. For the readily consumable part, it is the best to our all benefit that we don't have to perform additional steps as the end user just to get off the ground and get it running, right? For the part of reuse, It would also not be great if we would have to create these unique artifacts for every individual case of environment that we want to deploy in. We would much rather prefer to have one artifact built once for a particular environment type and just reuse all of that. Regarding the quality criteria, it would be most obvious to everyone that there's no point in just obtaining it, using it, starting to run it, just to find out that it doesn't work. And the final point being that no one would benefit if a release occurs, but the product is shipped to you 6 months later or a year later, and you can't take advantage of any of the features that have been implemented, which also on the development side of things would simply slow us down in understanding what the issues are, if any, that in the products that we've already delivered, and what are the use cases of users in their environments that would help us improve the product further. But, and Juris, I can hear you thinking, why do any of this? Just bring your own compiler, build it yourself. And I would like to, this portion of the talk, to address that question and argue for an actual necessity for this effort. So first of all, I believe the main goal of all of this, of product delivery, to be to make in the context of Zabbix and just generally any product, to make it more easily accessible to any end user. So it doesn't require additional work for the user to make it work when their original objective and goal is completely different, which is the functionality that the product provides. This is because, additionally, this is also because not all users are simply comfortable or even able to build their own software. And, sorry, repeat slide, pardon. Additionally, not all, Zabbix is a relatively complex product that provides a lot of features, and a lot of them are optional, which leads to these features rely on third-party software, which leads to a multitude of build configurations that simply won't work in all build environments. And it's just a waste of time and effort for everyone to be doing this themselves anyway. Why can't we just build once and then be nice to each other and share? Following on from that point, not all users are capable or even willing to, or for any other reason, able to create reusable deployment artifacts themselves. They can then deploy onto their environments to simplify the work for them. And not really everyone has the time to do any of this. This is not the original objective. The objective is to monitor your infrastructure. The following motivating point for product delivery is establishing a trusted source of assets. I would like to include under this banner both the security and quality of the software. Because the question is, did Kevin, who built this agent, gave it to me online, sent it in an archive file over email, did he backdoor it? And did sysop Bob enable all of the features in this particular build of the server? If I want to upgrade my current deployment, do I really have a guarantee that all of the features that I've been enjoying thus far are going to be working as we move along by redeploying Zabbix? These are not really the questions that the end user should be concerning themselves with, because again, their original goal is just to make use of the product and monitor their infrastructure. From a development and support standpoint, it also eases our work. It helps us to help you when we know what the asset is, what its configuration is, and we have some sort of baseline understanding of what to expect in behavior from the deployed asset and its in its operation. Because if everyone's homebrewing their own special little builds of these assets, we have no guarantees or no solid baseline to move onwards from, to understand what the potential issues are once we face them. It is much harder and more time-consuming to try and help a user that may be experiencing a novel bug, or maybe that is the expected behavior because the configuration is simply different. Reproducing custom builds is not really possible at times as well, and the creator of the original asset that is exposing this odd behavior that we can't determine to be correct or incorrect may not have that configuration handy anymore, so that just goes out the window immediately there. We also want to provide all the features to all the users, regardless of their choice of operating system or hardware platform, simply for the fact that we don't want to log them into a specific computing environment or a set of options, which is sometimes simply impossible because of the investment that has already been performed prior to this. We try and do this to the extent that it is feasible, because not all platforms, not all environments are the same, not all of them provide the same features. And the big exception to this rule really is the server component on Windows, but that is a separate discussion that we will not be addressing within this talk. And with that, I would like to then transition to the portion of a brief history overview of how product delivery even is started to occur in Zabbix, why the company, where it appeared in the company, and who are the key individuals that I would like to give shout-outs to that have contributed to this effort immensely. In 2007, the first package appeared. This was an RPM spec written by Kodai Terashima around the 1.4 release, which initially targeted Red Hat Enterprise Linux and CentOS systems. He did this purely for his own benefit. Debian packages and targeting Debian and its derivatives soon followed. And around the 1.8 release, this became the basis for serving our own packages. In 2009, Zabbix starts to hosting its own repositories for packages, which are still in use today by millions of people every year, instead of relying on downstream distributions to do that work for us. One of the key motivating factors here is purely the release cycle and speeds at which distributions do this. It often takes up to 6 to 12 months, depending on the case, purely to get the package out. And by the time it arrives in users' hands, we've already done at least a few releases, let's put it that way. This is then followed in 2016 by Alexei Postovalov, a support engineer that still works at Zabbix today, at his own volition, purely creating containerized container images for his own use. This then, very quickly, a release cycle is established, and these have become quickly the official container images that we are still producing almost on a daily basis till this day. In 2017, after 8 years of maintaining the release management cycle for packages, Kodai attempts to hand over this effort to Vladimir Leviev. Some of you may know him as Dimir, who then, for roughly the next year, tries to get a grasp of this, and it takes about a year for him to fully take over this effort. During that time, in the span of 15 months, the 3.2 release has 11 point releases delivered, and this is all thanks to him. Producing a release at this point is still hard. It is time-consuming. It happens slowly. Things are being built on virtual machines that are slow, and the process is not really that refined, which introducing any error is a heavy setback, both in time and resource sense of the word. Upgrades from previous releases in terms of packages also is a major cause of issues at this point. But then in 2019, Yuri Klipovsky joins the team and starts helping Dimmer, eventually taking over. And improvements from this point on quickly follow. In 2022, I return, and I try to mitigate the buzz factor of Yuri being really the only product delivery engineer that we had. I help on here and there, but generally Yuri is your key individual that does the major parts of this effort. So what is the current state of affairs? So the number of releases has steadily been growing year over year. 2023 is now the first year that we've managed to deliver over 100 releases of Zabbix and its components. This includes both alphas, betas, and the release candidates. 2022 came close. I believe it was short by about 2 releases to hit the 3-digit numbers, but we've gotten there. Build times have significantly shortened. If during the previous efforts this took about 8 hours, we've cut that time down to about 30 minutes per platform. New hardware platform support is also showing up. If anyone follows the ARM portions of this, then ARM64 support has been introduced. Previously, this occurred on a stack of Raspberry Pis that was very slow, very hard to work with, but now we have dedicated hardware to pump out these releases as quick as we can. We are currently committing to building Zabbix in the target environment that it will be operating in. So if you've been following Linux distribution news over the past year at least, many of you probably have heard that Red Hat have decided to place Red Hat copyrighted code behind a paywall. This has caused quite an uproar in the distribution producer community, most notably Rocky, Linux, and Alma. The projects have at this point decided to just provide binary compatibility but not source compatibility with Red Hat. We intend to continue building on Red Hat and both Rocky and Alma, just to deliver a native build of the software for those platforms. With this, I would like to then go on and move into what is the future for us and what can we expect in the short term. More finely grained package verification, which we already do. We always verify that the packages that we produce include all of the necessary assets that need to be delivered, that the standard install, upgrade, and remove workflows work. And this is not all. We don't always hit that target, and if for those of you that were here the previous year or maybe saw the talk online, there was a talk by Andrew Nelson on automation in Ansible, where he mentioned that a certain package suddenly lost certain files and they moved to a different package, which resulted in the breakage of downstream automation playbooks. This is my fault entirely. And I'm fine with taking the blame for it. But this is how we grow, and we take these issues very seriously. We continue to improve this process so these errors don't occur again. Downgrade support for Debian-based systems, Debian package-based systems, has been a pain point for many. We still don't support it, but this is a very high priority issue for us right now, and we intend to address it as soon as we can. As well as over this summer, I personally have been working on introducing a external dependency tracking system within the company to ensure that the assets that we produce don't ship with known issues, and that we have an accountability of how these assets are composed. So for those that may be coming from the hardware world, this roughly translates to having BOMs, that is bills of materials, being shipped alongside the product. This is oftentimes a requirement of institutions of high importance, such as banks, military installations and such, that require to know to the finest detail of what the software they're deploying and using, or just generally the product that they're using is composed of. This is also the reason why we found out about all of those Windows 95 Easter eggs. So in conclusion, end user convenience has always been the strongest driver. The goal here is to reduce the time spent by users not attending their main objective, and I think we're doing a pretty decent job at it. Product delivery additionally also creates a feedback loop for development, as the faster we ship out the product to our users, the quicker we find out about the issues that they are facing, which we personally cannot explore to the extent that our community can. And it builds confidence in the end user, in the product and us as a company, that we deliver a high-quality product that they can rely on and not question its functionality. Because at the end of the day, it is our reputation that we place on the line. This is what brings in new users, and that again feeds the process of development for improving the product and understanding users' use cases. I would like to thank you for attending this talk. I would like to thank you for attending Zabbix Summit this year. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them or catch me outside in the hallway. Thank you.